Hey, what's going on, good people? Welcome to another edition of Russ Can Fly. Well, at least I want to, but not right now. But Russ Can Fly!
Perfect.
All right, so I know I'm tripping as usual, but you know, I always try to have fun with this because this is my creative outlet. This is where I can relieve a lot of stress from working at home throughout the day, and throughout the days and the weeks, and it looks like it may be a couple months. So please forgive me for my obnoxious outbursts in my introduction. But at any rate, let me jump into a shout out that I want to give. This is actually a very special shout out to me. I want to give a special shout out to the Black Pilots Association, specifically the Roscoe Draper chapter of the Black Pilots Association. I've become affiliated with the Black Pilots Association and the Roscoe Draper chapter of the same sometime this summer. Fantastic organization, some real great people. You're going to hear more about them in the future, and hopefully I can get that shy president of the chapter to sit down, talk to me, you know, talk about the chapter, talk about the organization in general, and maybe even do some flying once, you know, all of this is behind us. So a huge shout out to the Black Pilots Association and the Roscoe Draper chapter of the Black Pilots Association. And if you get a chance, Google Roscoe Draper. That's a person that you should know. Huge part of aviation history, and an even huger, if that's even a word, well, an even a big part of American history as well. So Roscoe Draper, D-R-A-P-E-R. Definitely Google him. All right, let's jump into this video. So I don't know if you noticed or not, but this tree has been in a lot of my videos, and I don't know if you've noticed it, but it's always been in the background. And I've been looking at this tree for the better part of 20 years. Unfortunately, this beech tree is sick, and it is gonna be time for her to come down. So I wanted to just basically say, you know, thank you for providing beauty in the backyard. Thank you for providing shelter for birds and nesting places. I'm gonna try to move these bird houses, but unfortunately, this tree has got to go. If you're able to, you might hear a saw going off right now. There's a tree that we actually lost also in the front yard that's being cut down as we speak. I didn't want to be there because I don't want to be unsafe as they're cutting down the tree. Plus, the whole social distancing thing is still key. So, unfortunately, we're gonna lose that tree back there. And the environmentalist in me is pretty sad. But, you know, I gotta keep my home safe, and you might not be able to tell, but the tree is leaning towards the house. Last couple storms, it's been kind of iffy. So just wanted to give a shout out, you know, to the tree back there. Okay, so what have I been doing during this time? In addition to chair flying, and if you didn't see that video, the one right before this one, in addition to chair flying, I've actually been really ramping up ground school. Through Fly Gateway, I've still been doing my ground school in a group setting, but most of it has been through your, you know, Zoom meetings, so watching screens all day. But also, that's why I'm so impressed with the Black Pilots Association, and specifically the Roscoe Draper chapter of the same. They've been sponsoring almost kind of like a national ground school for both student pilots like me, for CFIs who want to, refresh their skills, and for a host of other folks. And the thing about that particular ground school, it has been very, very fascinating and very refreshing to hear their stories about, you know, different landings, you know, being at airports. War stories are the best way to learn lessons and a way to be safe. So my ground school, through my flight training, and along with the Black Pilots Association, Roscoe Draper chapter, those are the two ways in which I've been keeping engaged with my learning through ground school. In addition, I continue to study this book, tab it off, and try to understand all the things that I need to know in this book so that I can prepare for my written exam. Now, one of the things I'm really trying to focus on is airspace. And one of the things that people don't realize is that when you're flying up in the air, you can't just fly anywhere and go anywhere and go any speed you want. There are, just like highways, local roads, farm roads, military installations, just like there's rules for travel on the ground, believe it or not, there are rules for travel in the air. I won't get into it too much, but just wanted to show you some of the things that I'm still studying as I go through my ground school. So just real quickly, there are various classes of airspace that you have to be mindful if you're flying. So Class B, that's the airspace usually around major airports. So for instance, LAX in the West, Chicago O'Hare in the Midwest, Philadelphia International, JFK. Those would be your big airports where you would have Class B airspace, and there's rules about what you can and cannot do in this airspace and where it exists. And then there's what they call Class Charlie airspace. Those are your smaller airports. The one that I can think of here is, like, I think Harrisburg, Allentown. So there's usually a control tower there, smaller space. And then Class D, much smaller, regional airports, but there's usually a control tower there. Then of course you see this purple is Class E. Then there's Class G. Now the easiest is Class A, and you see that here depicted in the red. Anything above 18,000 feet, and I think that's AGL, or above ground level, that's Class A airspace. That's for the big boys. So usually in Class A airspace, that's when you're traveling in a jet. You're at 32,000 feet or something like that. You're in Class A, and there's certain rules. Me, I can't be in Class A airspace at all as a student pilot. It's a no-go. The only people who can be up there are the folks who are instrument rated. Also, you gotta have certain aircraft that can get up there. Most of the aircraft that I'm flying, the Cessna 172s, the Piper Cherokees, they're not getting up to 18,000 feet. Plus, you need oxygen, and you want to have the cabin pressurized and all that kind of stuff. So Class A, that's the easiest. So that's some of the things that I'm doing now in ground school, just trying to learn and relearn and definitely solidify all of those things about airspace. In addition to airspace, one of the other things that I'm really trying to focus on during this time is weather. Weather plays such an important key in flying for everyone. It doesn't matter if you've been flying for a bazillion hours and you were flying fighter jets, and now you fly for the biggest airlines and you fly the biggest airplanes. You're thinking about weather. Whether you're big jet airliner, crop duster, whatever, because weather, if you don't respect the weather can take you out. So for instance, I'm doing things like understanding cloud formations, altostratus clouds, altocumulus clouds, towering cumulus clouds. You don't want to be messing around with any one of these. You flying there, that could be your behind. And things like fog, valley fog, fog coming off of lakes, frost fermentation, low clouds, evaporation, all of this kind of stuff. So all of these things dealing with weather, very important, because it all lends itself into whether or not I get up there and I'm able to get back down on the ground. So that's really all I have. I mean, in addition to, doing my chair flying, I'm really trying to focus on keeping my skills sharp with chair flying, and also keeping my knowledge base with continued ground school lessons. Eventually, what I'd like to do is, once this COVID situation is behind us, go take my written exam, pass that, and then that's one more check in the box my pathway to becoming a licensed pilot. And as you can see, just those two things, airspace and weather, my gosh, I mean, just so much information, so many things that you have to learn, remember, and then not only just for the test. I don't want to do it just because, okay, I've got this test, I'm ready to take this exam, I want to make sure I pass. No, I don't want to be a VFR pilot that ends up in what they call IMC, or instrument meteorological conditions, and I'm above my head. Next thing you know, I come out, I'm on the ground, and it's a bad day. So those types of things are definitely important. That's why I want to make sure I have these skills nice and tight. All right, so that's it. My partner, my buddies, my co-pilot is wondering what we're doing. And so it's time to definitely finish. I thank you guys for sticking with me through all of this. I know it's a lot different from what I had ever expected that would be happening, but that's life. And it's okay, and we're gonna be okay. So let's continue to march on. Whatever it is that you are thinking about doing, start doing it now. Don't wait. And don't give up on what it is that you were trying to do before all of this happened. I will say that when this whole COVID stuff started happening and all my flights started getting canceled, I really did think about stopping this whole process. I was figuring, why am I going to make these videos? Nobody's going to watch these stupid things. What's the point? Well, the point is, if 2 or 3 people watch it, then it's worth it for me. But plus, just the act of continuing on keeps me connected, keeps me fired up, keeps me fueled. So don't put your thing down. Don't give up on your thing. Keep doing it. Do it even more. All right? And if you haven't done so, I would definitely be appreciative if you would subscribe to the channel. Take care. Russ Kid, Russ can fly. I'm out. Mad love, peace, love, and soul.